If someone had told me I'd be standing at the altar, in a silky bridesmaid dress, smiling for the camera, at my ex's wedding, while still pregnant with his baby, I would have laughed in their face. But that's exactly what happened. And what makes it even more twisted? He didn't even know. Or, at least I thought he didn't. Let me tell you how I got myself into the most humiliating, messy, emotionally gut-wrenching situation of my life. And before I start, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from, and what time it is right now. Because this story? It's one I know someone out there will relate to more than they'd like to admit. I'm Alyssa, 30 years old, born and raised in Dallas, Texas. I'm a graphic designer, a dog mom, a recovering people pleaser, and someone who used to believe that when love leaves, it leaves for good. Then came Jordan. Jordan was unforgettable. We met at a friend's game night 5 years ago. He was that guy. Confident without trying, the type who made you laugh even when you didn't want to. Tall, smooth voice, clever with his words. He made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. For 2 years, we were inseparable. Weekend getaways, Netflix marathons, inside jokes, surprise flowers on Fridays. He knew how to romance a woman. But Jordan also had a flaw, a big one. He didn't believe in commitment. Anytime I brought up moving in together or long-term plans, he'd get vague. I don't want to ruin what we have. I'm not ready for marriage. You're everything I want, but I need to figure myself out. And I waited. Because love makes you wait longer than you should sometimes. Then one Thursday night, out of nowhere, he ended it. No fight. No cheating. Just, I love you, but I'm not the man you need right now. I was shattered. I gave him space. Blocked him. Tried to move on. Then, just a few months later, I got a text from a friend that made my jaw hit the floor. Girl. Jordan just posted an engagement pic. What the hell? I thought it was a joke. But there he was on Instagram, grinning next to a woman I didn't recognize. Engaged. Not even 6 months after dumping me. I went numb. I told myself I was fine. That I dodged a bullet. That he wasn't who I thought he was. Then fate came back with a vengeance. One of our mutual friends was throwing a birthday party and begged me to come. I hadn't seen Jordan in almost a year. And then, there he was. We locked eyes across the room. He looked shocked. Like he'd seen a ghost. We made small talk. Awkward jokes. One drink turned into 2. And somewhere between "you look amazing" and "I missed this," I ended up in his hotel room. It was stupid. Emotional. Reckless. And it happened. Just one night. One mistake. Or so I thought. 6 weeks later, I felt different. Tired. Moody. Queasy. And late. I took a test. Then 3 more. All positive. I was pregnant. With my ex's baby. Who was now engaged to another woman. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know if I should tell him. I confided in my best friend Renee, and her exact words were, "You have to tell him. He deserves to know." But how do you tell a man who ghosted you emotionally, got engaged lightning fast, and only slept with you once during a moment of weakness that you're pregnant? I froze. I wrote the text. Deleted it. Called his number. Hung up before it rang. And then, something insane happened. Renee got invited to Jordan's wedding. She couldn't go, she was pregnant herself and due around the same time as me. So guess who she suggested as a replacement bridesmaid? Me. I thought she was kidding. But then I got the call from Samantha, Jordan's fiancée. "I know we don't know each other well," she said, "but Jordan always said great things about you. And I need one more bridesmaid. It would mean a lot." I should have said no. But some twisted, emotionally reckless part of me said, sure. I'd be honored. The rehearsal dinner was brutal. Samantha was glowing. Jordan didn't look at me. Not really. I kept my smile on like a mask. I wore a flowy dress. I wasn't visibly showing yet, but I could feel it. And then, the night before the wedding, I went out to walk near the pool of the resort, trying to clear my head. That's when I heard a voice behind me. Alyssa. I turned. Jordan was standing there. We hadn't spoken since that night. He walked over slowly. You okay? He asked. I nodded. Too fast. Then his eyes dropped to my belly. His face went pale. Are you pregnant? I didn't say a word. Just looked at him. He already knew. And when he asked if it was his, I nodded once. He sat down and put his head in his hands. I'm getting married tomorrow, he whispered. You already are married in every way that counts. I didn't know. I didn't either. Then he said something that stuck with me. If I'd known, maybe things would be different. I didn't respond. Because it didn't matter anymore. The next day, I stood up there in satin, holding flowers, pasting a smile on my face. Jordan said his vows. Samantha beamed. And me? I cried in the bathroom during the father-daughter dance. Not because I wanted him back. But because he had made his choice. And so had I. Later that night, he texted me. I don't want to miss this. I want to be involved. Please let me try. I didn't respond right away. But a week later, I sent him the ultrasound photo. He showed up to the next appointment. Held my hand. Listened to the heartbeat. It was emotional. Complicated. He was married. But he wanted to be part of the baby's life. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get any more layered, Samantha showed up at my apartment. She looked exhausted. Pale. Makeup-free. Tears in her eyes. I just need to ask you one thing, she said. Did you plan it? My jaw dropped. No, I said. It was one night. I didn't even want to tell him. I only did because I thought he had a right to know. She stared at me for a long time. Then nodded. I believe you, she whispered. I just needed to hear it. She turned to leave, but right before walking out, she added. He loves that baby already. But I think, he still looks at you like you're the one that got away. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Because I knew that whether he loved me or not, he was someone else's husband now. And I had a new life to protect, literally. So yeah. I was a bridesmaid at my ex's wedding, while still pregnant with his baby. It was the most emotional, twisted, painful experience I've ever lived through. But you know what? It made me stronger. I stopped waiting for closure from people who left. Stopped expecting explanations from men who ghosted their own hearts. I gave myself the closure. And the future? It's mine now. Have you ever kept a secret this big? Would you have told him? Gone to the wedding? Or kept it all to yourself? Let me know in the comments.